People waiting don't stay for this one before you come home. Anything where you see for this world, whether good or bad, make you take a so. Now so everybody come in the world. We dey advise you say, any work where you dey work, make you put your mind there. I walk and fight, make you not dey talk like, make I yes be yes, you know be no, then you go live well for this world. So God will bless you, give you long life, give you many birthdays again. So God will bless you, give you long life, give you many birthdays again. Say thanks to you, happy birthday to you. You go live long, say thanks to you. We beg you to give happy birthday to you. Say thanks to you, happy birthday to you. We did the one you say thanks to you. How many months happy birthday to you? How many weeks ago thanks to you? How many years happy birthday to you? You go live long for this for you. Mama, yeah. Happy birthday to you. Today now your birthday. Now the day when you come to join the people, we don't stay for this one before you come home. Anything where you see for this world, whether good or bad, make you take am so. And so everybody come in the world. We dey advise you say, any work where you dey work, make you put your mind there and work and find, make you not dey talk like, make your yes be yes, you know be no, then you go live well for this world. So God will bless you, give you long life, give you many birthdays again. So God will bless you, give you long life, give you many birthdays again.
Good evening.
Happy birthday to you. You go live long for days to you. Long life to you. Happy birthday to you. How many years ago? How many weeks ago? Happy birthday to you. Anyhow you did, we never go to give you long life again. Oh, yeah. Happy birthday to you. Long life to you. Happy birthday to you.
Good evening, good evening, Okay, good evening, folks. Today is Sunday. This is the Examiner, the number one and sort of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR TV right here this evening. Depending on your location, we say good morning, we say good evening, to welcome to this is the Diaspora Informative News. Whilst Sese came and then something I tried to do, it just went blank like that. This guy here, it looked like, I don't know whether he going to the inauguration in Ghana too, but whatever the situation. We say good morning, good evening, to welcome this, the Liberia Public Radio. This is the Sunday's editions of the Examiner, as you know. Yeah, we'll try to do it. We'll try to catch up this year here to do a lot of stuff. People that I put in their time, in fact, all of you, but in the interest of fairness, we have analysts, 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours, if you literally like almost 5 days to 7 days, besides Saturday, for the most part, we are here. You have the Mr. Tabata, which is the Liberal Progressive in his wing, and then you have the original guy who always look at the issue, which they do not like, but I'm here to stay. I'm here to put them in check. They always try to conspire against the independent. But importantly, today is the 5th of January, and it happens to be one of our own, Madam Koto Jalabalayan. Since she joined the Liberia Public Radio, she has brought a lot to this table here in terms of the national conversation that is unfolding. So since we're supposed to, these are people that we're supposed to pay. I don't have money to pay Sese Goya, to pay Dr. Toto, the Koto, and all of these people. But guess what? In the interests of our country and their own, for the good of their country, out of their own volition, they sacrifice their time, energy, to resources, because they give financial contribution as well to this network. The Terry, the Dr. Mali, the Boashian, who is currently in Liberia, all of that. So once it is their day, birthday is a sort of unique day in itself. It comes once a year. We must acknowledge and tell them happy birthday. We should tell them thank you for their services, for their contribution to society, to community, to a national cause. As you know, sometimes they come here, some of them come with tabata, some of them come with whatever you might think it to be. You disagree, but in the interest of our country, there is always civility, and the entertainment aspect is much less in here because we all know what is at stake. So, but we have to add these little funds in it, so it can be like, wait a minute, these people, they are the only owner of Liberia. But it is important that when we come to this conversation, first and foremost, we respect you as a viewer, as a follower. And that's why you see me, I always argue for you here. The liberal, he's not. He's not. And he has managed, and there's another guy that I came thinking that maybe he was going to be like an independent, not knowing he's one of them. So it is only Dr. Jones, myself, and the converted to reactions now to the independent Wilton Keto has managed to add to our voice here. But sedition is a sedition. Reaction is a reaction. So sometimes that feeling gets in him when it calls the former president's name, then he's strict or something. Then Sese comes to you too. So this is what history is all about. It had to erase history. it's a unique system. It's a unique thing. It reflects us. It takes us back to who were our position in the past. And if you notice the vibrance of this country here, if you're an ordinary person, you're doing all your thing, they're not going to say, they're not going to bother you. Try seeking government office, try and come to prominence and or something. Then they're ready to dig out to know who you are because they want to make sure. So it is very, very, very much important. So I want to say happy birthday to our own Koto Jala Balayans. It's a senior analyst of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR TV. Since coming here, he has added a lot of value, even though she one of the not a reaction, one of the washing, So, but it is what it is. But we respect her time. We respect what her work here. Sometimes people come from work, people do these things, and from there we just hit the road and start going. So it comes with enormous sacrifice. Some of our men will be on a workshop training, going on teachers' workshop training out of state. Sometimes the time he's supposed to sleep to get prepared for the next section, he will still come on here. So what can we do to mold? The only thing is to appreciate and tell them thank you, because when you're analysts on the network, technically it is a responsibility of that network to pay you. These folks you see on CNN, if you look at some of them and what they make, the monthly payment is huge. But guess what? Other people paying their analysts, their contributors, they pay them good money. But here, is Kado is free. So if we have one of our own anniversary, whether a wedding, whether a birthday, or any historic event, we will have to appreciate it. And so there's, on behalf of the management and staff of the Liberia Public Radio, both USA, Liberia, and this board chairman, and I pray this board chairman who always conspire with other members, threatening to create a so-called majority black here. We pray in the name of this God, this 2025, never again that this board chairman, Samson Toll, and his co-conspirators come here and try to create a scene that there should be, first of all, no sin. We have a lot to deal with. We audit, we do the whoever audit. Let it bring it on. Today is our analyst Koto Jalabalayan birthday. So I'll try to be kind if they come here, but if any of them try it, fire by fire. Folks, we want to welcome you. We want to thank you so much for your time. We say happy New Year for those of you that we have not interfaced since 2024. We want to say it happy New Year, happy belated New Year, happy Merry Christmas. For those of you we didn't talk, not that with purpose, but America is on wheel. And we know all of us, we all are busy. So it's always a pleasure to have you here. And this year, I will try to activate it now. Hopefully, the analysts come on. If they do, that's okay. We want to say it. Happy belated New Year to Madame Tamari Togas-Langard. It's one of our prime time. It's one of the glamorous. We hear the glamorous of the Valley of Delaware. It's one of them. We say thank you so much for always following us. We do appreciate it. So, but why are you supposed to be doing all the plenty organization? It's supposed to be kind of like promoting your, activities here with us. Therefore, we don't want to be like other people and they can do whatever they want to do, to be doing this woman baker work. Every evening, every afternoon, every live stream cash out there. It makes the people say get sick. We will ask, but it will be at the right timing. And I've said this, and it's in the core with all of the analysts here. We have to take steps. We have to lead the maritime, the cause for which we want to ask for fund. It's good, and we don't want to take the Liberian people for granted. The ideal Liberians are generous. So anybody wake up, my he hating, my toe hating, and their raise fund. We need to stop that. This is 2025. We need to create some sort of independence and be able to ask for something that the people, it will be convincing by itself. But when you look at our country again, you look at the way we do things, the way things are processed, it makes it very, 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 very difficult. But anyway, we continue to do what we do. So we say happy, happy. And even if you are a follower, maybe let's start on this note. Most of us, we are friendly and either on Facebook or Messenger or follower. If you have, if it is any historic day, we don't want to be selective here too, because you are part of you are part and parcels of the national conversation. Without you coming in to listen, to watch, to get your comments, your tweets, your interaction, then we also would not be here. So we want to include you moving forward. If you're a follower, admirer of Liberia Public Radio, if you have any historical event, something that you just want us to showcase to the audience, anything, birthday, anniversary, any reunions, organization, promotional stuff, let us know. Now, there are some that are more or less public relations type, which is promoting, it comes with a little bit minimum, you know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. But like about the, stuff, let us know, hey, next week is my birthday. Can you send a shout out? Can you design, put up something? Definitely, we will do that. All right. We want to be part of history making. These things are very much important. You see, those days, the war today, let's have some conversation. Too much sometimes politics, isn't it? The war today is different from that of yesterday. Our people, our old people those days, they never had the privilege of this sort of unique outlet that we are enjoying today. Those sort of camera where you would get close your one eye, if you get eye trouble, you can't even see the person. Now we have digital cameras. We have a lot of the technology has enhanced so much. So the things that we are doing today, our people never had the opportunity to do those things. So sometimes people that are born, they couldn't even remember that, they would make reference to the number of farms, the old man, that farm, that so. Yeah, it was that time I was born. But today, it's so easy for us to remember. And the social media has created that sort of platform. So if you have noticed on every anniversary, any other thing at that year, you will see Facebook going to bring that flashback. And that's a unique way of storytelling in itself. You make reference to those, your years back things that you did, your associations with organizations, with institutions. You see those video accounts. And you are privileged to make reference to that to your children during our days, during our time. This is so what we are doing. And that is good. Be it good or bad. You ain't go for to scratch your hair and start thinking, how he look there, how he look there. When he tall, he short, he black, he ugly, he beautiful. You don't want that. So let's open ourselves. Open ourselves. I'm not saying you should unveil your privacy. That's not what I'm saying. When I say open yourself, make yourself happy, do things that don't worry about what people are going to really be thinking about, because no matter what, they always think about people anyway. And guess what? If you are important in society, in community, then people wonder to what you do. So nothing even too wrong with that. I'm not saying go do crazy thing for it to become a talk of a town. But again, the society, the combinations of today's world, the society that we have, it constitutes all of those. That's why you have liars, you have scammers, you have all kinds of people. Without the existence of these people in our society, the society too is not unique. You have people there who commit crime. That's why we have the judicial process to prosecute those people. Because if that is not existing, then those people in that profession will not have a job, because they got to find killers, they got to find liars, they got to find burglaries, and all of those people. Is it good? That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying the society of today, the society of yesterday, and even in the future to come, there will be a lot that we're going to be dealing with. So we must all bear that in mind. So our own way of asking you to donate to those work is when you're having like a wedding anniversary, reunion, marriage, birthday, some call it milestone, some call it golden age, whatever you're trying to be. Mr. Ali Kroman, good to have you in the house. Let us know. There is no wait as long we have a reasonable time of engagement. We will go there. Even if it's in Liberia, just let us know. We got a team in Liberia. We got a team, very committed, hardworking team, and we have done so much to empower them in terms of having all of the gadgets and things that they need to do. So they are doing well. And we'll be honest, what we can do, we'll say. If we can't do it, we will also say. We'll tell you our limitations, our do's and don'ts. We'll tell you it. All we want to say is engage us. Don't assume that you're friendly with me on Facebook or friendly with any of the analysts, and always Facebook give notifications of people birthday. Yes, it is true, but here we also believe and strongly to run as institutions guided by basic rules. So not because you're a friend of mine, we've been knowing one another, and it's a birthday, I see that post, I just grab it and put it up. This is America. You got to get people consent. You can't, in the process of doing good, you can't cause harm. We can't ignore these basic rules. And this is how, you support. No, just shoot me a text, send me an inbox. Tomorrow is my birthday. Tomorrow is my anniversary. Maybe, can I send a shout out? Can you create something? Definitely we can do it. So we want to eat as much. People gotta be respected in their own comfort zone. Let us not assume. Assumptions is not a fact. It's not something. Oh, I assume, I thought. No, that's not the case. If you want us to do it, and we are committed to that, we'll try as long you give me, a day or two in between. Hey, tomorrow, day after is my birthday, is my wedding anniversary, is so. Can you shoot something you're doing on your program? Of course. So we want to have this sort of more interactive in terms of sharing some of your valued days and memorable time that you have as a family, as a people, as an individual, as an organization. Want to do that. So always let us know. Mrs. Clark, good to have you here. Good evening. Happy to hope you enjoy your New Year. Maurice A.M. Jalate. I'm watching from Point 4. Wow. Maurice, good to have you at this time. Point 4. If you look at the time, it is after what? I believe it's after 12 or 1 o'clock. Now, this is why it's so much important when we come onto these public discourse. People like the likes of Morena in Liberia, you could be in bed, maybe getting to be sleep, having enough rest for work tomorrow or whatever errands he would be running. People listen to these things, whether that 1%, 2%, people listen to these things and we must value the time. And when we come to this conversation, people should stop lying and making us tough, because it's one of the things that is killing us. Because the entertainment aspect in the media world today has diluted the purpose, the essence of media, its people and government as a whole. And it will always be. It is that's the same way here. Because the media is so much huge, diverse. The public relation aspect is there. The propaganda aspect is there. So everything makes up. You will just have to distinguish which is which. And so sometimes when we listen, we who sit on this network and some of the talking heads, they're always in the business of reconstructing. They're always in the business of fixing things that can die. They know actually that cannot be fixed. But that's their area of expertise. They are trained to do that, to know how to navigate through difficult times, to straighten what needs to be straightened. But you too, as a forward, you have to decide for yourself to identify, because the falsehood, the misinformation, the end one knows, and all of that. They will make a good case. They will bring references. They will quote. They will bring stories and create that connections, give it a good presentation. But it is left with you to ask the question how. And this is why when we're here, we always encourage you. Don't just take for whatever we say here and that's it because I'm here every other day. Or you listen to this other analyst, his dictions, his tone, his language. Words are well coordinated, nothing disjointed. You say, yeah. And this is what carries us away. We focus on the dictions aspect of our talkings. We don't go in depth of the story to whether it is factual. What we are saying is people can relate to it. We can to retrospect to say, oh yes, I forgot, but this is what happened. And that is why you have to be very, very, very careful as well in the process of this. But having said that, we will take we're going to activate this line here. So if another analyst come on, that's okay. If you even want to share it sometimes, you will call here. Maybe you want to see what's good you want to see coming out of your country to this 2025. Too much of drama. And the idea notion of people who also express their dissatisfaction or how their government conduct things or their positions in terms of I am not in support, I am in support, or they are staying on critical issues, does not suggest that these individuals or these citizens, they are not Liberian or they hate the government and people, politicians and other people live there as enemy of the state. They don't want to see progress in Liberia. That's not so. This is where tolerance needs to come in. If you believe in something, you should be able to convince me why you must have that temperament. But in most cases, that is not the case. They assume they want you to agree with them without you even asking why, And that's what we have done, for which every now and then we have these issues, we make wrong decisions because we have never had a chance to ask these people, these politicians. You saw like the common debate here recently, the elections of Speaker Johnson. The polar politics is unique. It's not necessarily about themselves, but some of these things, their values, things that it believes in, the issues at stake, regardless of them being to Democrats or Republican. Some of them will come and say, I am not voting for this guy. You heard a guy from, I believe, from Kentucky, one of either Kentucky, who said they can even pull my finger on it. I'm not going to vote for this guy. It doesn't mean that it's a hate, but there is a big political differences in terms of what he wants to see happening for his constituent, even though he's a Republican. But he was taking a position. And what we're talking about here is how powerful the executive is. Even though there were some people in throughout politics, people with the Republicans said they were not going to support this Republican speaker who was seeking re-elections based on XY reasons for themselves. The exchange value. All the speaker needed to do is to lobby with them. And who broke the chain so that the president elect was on a phone call talking to them, hey, because the president knows that he needs to have someone that he will work with. And politically, it will be a victory, So when we say the president is intervening in the affairs of the other first branch of government, no. That's what politics is all about, because it's interest. So when we see some of these things happening, and we are making this argument, it's where we are coming from. It's where we are coming from. It doesn't suggest that the president is hated. People are praying the president not to succeed. Why will any good citizens on planet Earth would not even want their country to succeed? No good citizen does that. No one going to do that. They will have political differences, ideology in terms of what they are doing, what is happening, or maybe how the country is being conducted, the policy, some, not all, other places. And ultimately, the boss stop with the president of the country. They don't want to go to speaker, even if it is going right. They will just sort of them, yes, they are under the watch of this president, and that's where the legacy comes in. And that's how why sometimes we are making this, having this sort of critical conversation. And I think in the media, like here, they have big institutions that somehow some will, when you listen to them, you know exactly to which party or which agenda they support. But there are so many options. So many options, places that you can go and get information. Do we have that? Yes. Is it to that level? I am not sure. So we glue ourselves to one or two, three institutions that will find credible that when they come or anything that says is true. No. You can also check media. You can also do your own fact checks when you put this information out. Where is this information coming from? Who was the author of this information? It is important to make this full disclosure. I will never put something out here and just unless if it is originated, it's from the LPR, then I am the author. Any other thing that is displayed coming from the second, third party, you want to make sure you make reference to that, because when you present it as your own, which of course it is not, it's not your property. That's just not right. And we see these things happening over and over. So it is very, very, very much important. And we hope national government and our officials, they will come clean. And the reason people also leave it in is because their inability to unveil themselves, because they tie themselves to one institution. They think this is where their message can resonate. They think this is where they can carry their sound bites out of their rare meat. And they have people there to push it, to enhance it, and shove it down your throat so that you believe it because the brand name is encoded with it. So you draw that conclusion. We need to change that mindset. We are in a digital era. We need to be a little more involved. Even if it is our own, we need to make sure what we do, what we talk, and how we validate these things. You know, media folks, they are good in making up story. And if you are weak-minded, you fall right into A. You fall right down. Okay, Mr. Delaware, you're always busy. Maybe they are working on your letter of appointment. You're doing everything. Your man Washington is already in Liberia. You know, so we need to make you to come here. You come here. You don't be busy. That's what you do. When you get where you want, then you tend to busy people. We can no longer see you. So you come. Let's have this conversation. We need to have a different set of presentation. We'll try as much as to engage different wide range of issues on this network. And we are saying it. We are open to anybody who wants to form part of this platform, as long as you have the luxury of time, you have available time that you can be with us. There are some here that appear suddenly because of different work schedules, activity, which is okay. All we send them the link. And once they are available, they show up and we have this sort of conversation. Again, I want to say shout out to this one weekend. I was part of a funeral of a co-worker, a long-time security personnel in Liberia who served Talbot, the Dole, the Sawyer, and all of these group. You know, and this, we are in a very small world, and that's why we need to be very careful. Interestingly, this guy, I couldn't even remember. We all used to live Gaytown in Monrovia. That was 81, 82, 81. who came here who worked for the same company or taught this gentleman, the late Rufus Kennedy. For those of you who followed the live feed yesterday, I had a picture yesterday. I don't know what I moved, but I've been doing a lot of posting today. More will be done. I passed away recently here. The government of Liberia, I believe, was still officious. We're going to play some of those videos at some point in time, not tonight. I didn't really prepare for it today. The governor of Liberia was fully represented yesterday, which is a good thing. When people serve their country, if in such as anything of such of nature to happen, it's good the government to be represented. And so the late Deacon Rufus Kennedy was laid to rest right here. To want to say to the family, our deepest condolences, and thank you so much for allowing LPR to form part of the homegoing. And our group, the family contacted us here, and we positioned our guys in Liberia. They took their projector, wide lights with a big screen. They were watching it. They had a very good setup, very special place. So, that's the beauty of the communication. So they were like literally part of what was happening simultaneously right before our eyes here in the ocean state of Rhode Island. And I was glad later on my sister came up. So and the LPR family want to thank you so much. You were able to form part our family. People watch it from all over the world. The images were clear. It was good. We are happy with what you did. That is better, and that is what we want to do. Not necessarily a funeral. It can be a birthday, it can be an anniversary, it can be a convention. I know every other weekend convention places taking place. Get the expertise of people who can do it. You start using these Cricket, Boost Mobile. Some people doing live streaming, turn your head upside down, full in the air. When they look at yourself for 5-10 minutes, then they turn it to the other people. Some people feet you can't show some people feet. Is because in this important occasion, I am not saying individuals shouldn't do, because those are private screaming, as a way of communicating, which is okay. But when you hire an institution to do a job, you're going to notice from start to finish, everything will be captured in real time. And you're going to be on our Facebook, you're going to go on our YouTube. In some instances, depending on that, there's a copyright issue. So we are very honest. We tell people that. But you see, you're going to be there. And the reason those things are important is for history, for memory, because every nowadays things happening. People that you were finding away yesterday, they are no longer around. Because of health, because of that, because of different things. But when you hire an institution, when you hire a group to do a piece of job, and you sit, you talk about it, starting Friday to Saturday to Sunday, what that does, they're going to capture everything, and the possibility of you taking that recap of everything to give you a clear cut of your function is there, and it's there for the life of the loan. And you can easily make reference to it if you even try to trace people. So sometimes if I go in our archive, when we started as, especially from Voice of GDL, live Facebook streaming, starting, going out, doing recording some of the video. If you check, you see some picture. Hundreds, scores of those people, some people are not living. But when you watch the thing, it brings back memory, some of the things that happen. So again, always let us know. It doesn't matter where you are. And not just only that, say you have a business, you want to showcase your business outside. So to NEPA is a strictly business venture. 2025, we're building retirement gradually. It doesn't matter. It can be in any form, it can be in any shape. But our argument at LPR here is we just do not want to come here and be putting, we have Cash App, we have Zelle. But this notion always you want to be on the receiving end. We feel that we must work for you, we must provide some services to you, and then you pay us. It's equal. We give you something, we provide services in exchange, you give us some cash. And what that does, it also helps to sustain this network, to keep this network going. The lights, the software system, the folks in Liberia buying gadgets. We have a internet system. We don't go to function here and say, "Oh, where your Wi-Fi?" Like I went to do the people church something, and the guy asking, "Oh, do you need Wi-Fi?" I said, "No, I don't need your Wi-Fi. I don't know what kind of Wi-Fi you have." And even if that was the case, I mean, I'm not serious. That self-independency must be there. Suppose I count on your Wi-Fi in the process, the system collapse. Whose fault? It's a breach of contract, and I can be held liable for that. So I said, no, I'm okay. So, oh, okay, you're a good guy. Well, a business card, I give it to him. So this is what I want to do this 2025. We want to provide extra services to you. Let us know as long as you're a follower of Liberia Public Radio. You have a business, mini business, large business, whatever it is here in Liberia. Even there's an event. Some of you, there are a lot of you can be here. You sponsor a lot of events. There are a lot of things going on in Liberia. You have to tell your story. If you don't tell your story, it means it's unknown and it is not a story. You have to sell yourself. That is very, very, very much important. If you don't do that, people will not know it. In our Liberian African setting, if you don't tell your story, nobody can. People will end up telling your story. And there's a danger involved when people tell your story. That is literally people define you. But anyway, I have my analyst here from the town of Joe Biden. Is here. I don't know why this thing here. Wait, hold on 1 second more. I don't know which system I jumped in here tonight. How can different thing just I never noticed it until I came on, but let's see here. The background is the background where I say, okay, well, we can deal with it. Let me see. Let me see this here.
Yeah, your background is okay.
Oh, what's that?
Now
You want to be between the Liberian flag?
that's fine.
Okay, it doesn't matter. I think the message is quite important. Let's do it this way. Sometimes you gotta do it different. Okay, Mose, good to have you. Good evening and welcome. How was your weekend?
My weekend was great, brother. How you doing? It
Great.
was not that great because I really wanted to be in Rhode Island for the
Yeah,
home of Mr. Kennedy.
yeah. I was just
Yeah,
talking about it. Yeah,
and I must commend you for a job well done. LPR did a magnificent job by covering the wake and the funeral because what you're doing, uh, what I saw is that people don't understand. These are things that you have in your archives that we can go back to 20, 30 years from now, and people can go back and look at it and say, and you can use it as a source of reference.
right.
And people don't understand. And the reason why I say that is because some of us, when we're making comments on the show, we're posting things on Facebook, we have no source of reference when it comes to some of the things that happened back in the 60s and the 70s in Liberia. We got very few information we can really gather to show people. And, you got to know where you're coming from to know where you're going.
Right.
And I think the general public in Liberia post-war were cheated out of some of those resources and their source of references. And so their whole uh, um, effort to make a difference in this country is by experiment. You
Yeah.
experiment something, and then when it don't work, you go back and experiment something else.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going on. We have no source of reference to go back and say, well, things used to be this way. How can we bring it back to that standard or to make it better than what that standard was? And I just want to commend you for your services in making sure that the homegoing of Mr. Kennedy, a very astute individual, people who shared information with us on security, who we went to for references. He served in some of the top level security in the country, guiding the office of the presidency. And I don't think that's something simple. When we come on this show and we make references, and people are looking at us and we're saying, listen, the presidency needs to be protected, not the individual, but that presidency, that seat. And people sometimes don't understand what we're talking about. But these people were honorable security officers. They never took side on political parties because they saw their work as servicing the Liberian people and protecting the presidency. So we lost a good man. He's in a better place today. But the history of the people in Rhode Island, there are a lot of people there who can attest to when Mr. Kennedy came. There were a lot of confusion going on with community leadership, and everyone knew him to say, "For peace sake." And that's what we used to call him in the meetings, "For peace sake," every time he came.
Yeah, somebody told what. Yeah, somebody making a testimony. He said that
Somebody
was.
said that, right? Yep. And every time there was some Rick Monroe, whether it was serious or just little argument, he said, "For peace sake, let things get this way. Let's do it this way." And in Gay Town, the services. I mean, during the war, this guy fed people in Gay Town. People who
That's a funny thing. All the
I
late,
was
the late Rufus.
yep.
We work for the same company for a couple of years.
And
Doing I and I mean I probably he mentioned that I can't really recall, but probably because but after this whole thing, then I really got to know. I said, oh, because he used to tell the people, he used to say, Alfonso, so these people, they didn't know who they did. Rufus, he's a
Yeah.
sharpshooter.
Yeah.
And not knowing we were all in the same gate, I didn't even realize until he passed. And then my sister would tell you, about Mr. Kennedy. I know I remember Mr. Don, the Kiawu,
Yeah.
all of that. But for whatever reason, I did not really recall him until it passed.
Mr. Kennedy and Mr. Nan shared common fence. And we shared common fence with Mr. Nan. Mr. Peabody.
Are you saying you were in Gay Town too?
I was in Gay Town. We used to play football right across from the Nigerian shop by Mary Reed's house.
You're kidding me.
I'm kidding you.
It's very good to have these sort of open conversation and forget your politics and let's provide some sort of, because that's why it's good to a relationship. So when my sister told me, because when they send this message, the other daughter, Florence, I never met her before.
No, because she was
when people they contacted us, so cover. My mom was crowded with different things. So just 3-4 days, I decided to do their stuff. When I look at it, it was Kennedy. So I said, wait a minute. Don't tell me it's my own papa will work for Grodin.
Yep.
Before Kennedy, because I know he told me at some point in time you're going to be going after the COVID, people are disconnected and stuff like that. I know he was sick, and I really felt bad. But that's in here, the latest RVK.
Yeah,
yeah, that's in here. And let me just tell you, things that we do here, people monitor and people listen.
Yes, sir.
Multiple people came from out of state. Medical, oh, you Mr. Soda, you can get liberal hard time, that you can do that, you can do this. And if a gentleman came to me, he bombed and would take a picture. I don't know whether you're gonna like it, but he also was in it. The former SSS people from Talbot, Doe, and all of those people, most of some of them are here. They came out, they were in a huge number to pay their tribute.
Yeah.
One of them bomber said, no, you know what? We need to take a picture. So let me just show this picture here. He's one of our color here. He's all the way from Maryland area.
Okay.
He was SS guard with the security service.
Yeah.
That picture took that picture. He said, we know we gotta get this picture here. And then he formally, I know the name and thing that when I saw him to the work, I said, oh yeah, that's him. So it was just great. Other people from Texas and other places, and that for the most part,
No, Alfonso, the thing about it is that Mr. Kennedy was not the person to talk about his accolades.
Yeah.
He would never boast because what Mr. Kennedy did, he did from his heart. And he was a peaceful person, and he was a giving and caring. He cared for everyone. I can tell you that. I can tell you that. So there are people. Mr. Kennedy used to own service stations in
Yeah.
Nigeria, as his outside at his other gig. But his first line of work and duty was as a security personnel. And I can tell you, he did great things for a lot of people, my brother. He did great things for a lot of people. The people in Gaytown cried when they heard about Mr. Kennedy's passing.
I said
I,
our crew was there. I said they played the setup. The crew went there. They had a place set up. Had a big place.
big screen, huh?
Yeah, they put a screen up, and I was what to doing to capture that, and they
Hmm.
were watching it like you in the cinema in the theater. So I mean, the
Yeah,
family.
yeah. I'm
I mean,
telling you.
the song call in. It was. I mean, I who were even doing the cover in the church, I literally broke down most
Yeah, I know.
because I had at home.
That's what bothered me. I couldn't.
Make my own guitar man, yeah, so, and start calling the sister everybody name.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
called me in the church yesterday. It was he was down, but anyway.
I'm telling you. I tell you, there's one funeral I wanted to be at, but because of certain things beyond my control, I was able to communicate with Flores. Even my dad, he was in tears yesterday because he couldn't go there because he's not doing too well, and he said it was very cold for
Yeah,
him.
all the weather, even up to now, the
Yeah,
weather there
very
is pretty
cold,
cold.
and he called me in tears, telling me he couldn't make it because I was supposed to be there to take him so we can go. And
Okay.
I want to talk about our personal thing, but I can tell you. Let me just say thank you to you guys for the work well done, and God above, we're richly blessed. The people who participated here in Liberia to make sure that Mr. Kennedy homegoing were watched by those people who respected and loved him. So
Yeah.
I,
I'll be putting that video. I promise you I'm going to be doing that video because it doesn't really have copyright issues from the church to
yeah,
funeral and stuff. I'm going to be putting that video out hopefully tonight after tonight's program or so. So, okay, so let's shift the gear now. So now I'm going
you're
to put
very
this.
shift the gear again.
Yeah, because you're trying, you want us to stick with this here. There are some things you don't want me to talk here. So let's shift this gear here now so that we can have what's going on. Look, okay, this is 2025 now.
Yeah,
Let's put aside politics.
yeah, happy.
Yeah, happy New Year, happy New Year. Start with no interface here.
The New Year's Day here.
It's still, yeah, we're still in January. We're still in the month of January, so it's still fine.
Yeah, yeah.
But on a serious note here,
Mhm.
too much is going on in our country. And for those of you who also share support, which is great, nothing wrong with that. But
Mhm.
what you really want to see happening this new year, this other drama or who to go to speak or to do this and this one, I mean, these are all complete distraction. And all of these is the own creations of the government within. And like I was just talking about, you watch the Speaker Johnson re-election, and
Yeah,
some of these were talking about that the president, the executive should get involved because it is in the executive to also, in order for the president, sitting president to get his agenda pushed, you must have control of the House. You can even, regardless of people say it might be balanced, this and that, not necessarily because the agenda counts. You need to have somebody to address draft that agenda. And that's I was some of our position that the executive or the president, you saw how it was heavily contested. Donald Trump, as the head of the Republican Party, he has to pick a phone to talk to people. Hey, this is my guy. I need this guy to get this job. You know, and we saw that turning point in a split second. Things quieted. That's exactly what. Here we are. Uh, Sooner is about to take place. The issue of the speakership, yes, politically they have it, but the deal is inconclusive because he has not been removed legally. The process that require him to be removed, That has not been executed. That is still inconclusive. That puts the country at risk with a lot of things. With all what we are hearing now, Ghana invite this other person and this person invite these people and people displaying letters. That's complete nonsense. We should not be doing that. These things, that political issue, they must be handled. Politicians, people should step in and should be handled. Here we are now in 2025. Sooner is coming. What possibly could happen?
Well, let me just say this. I will start by letting you know that Liberia is uniquely different. In America, we have two political parties that are dominant. In Liberia, we have multiple political parties represented at the legislative levels. The president has the right to go and seek um, um, support from those representing his political party, as in the case of Joe Buckeye and the Unity Party. But the Joe Buckeye cannot convince people from CDC, from ANC, and other places. He can make the effort to do that. Now, the other thing that we looked at that created this chaos is because number one is the embattled speaker went in and called for sections, and he did not have the quorum to carry out a section. So, do we say he continues to be a speaker when he cannot even have a quorum to address the issues pertaining to legislative work? However, the other side has the quorum. What they don't have is the voting power. And
So what? So what's the difference? This is
wait. Let me
you
just
saying you want us to be.
wait.
No, no, you have to wait.
Well,
You
you wait 1 second because I'm not done with my assertions yet. The other side has the power to have a section, which is 39, 37, a single majority. They have that single majority so they can carry on the affairs. But when it comes to anything that needed to be voted in for a two-term majority, which is the removal of the speaker, that cannot happen. Bill
so
can be passed. Wait a minute. Bill can be passed with a single majority. You don't need. The only thing that's not happening right now is to have the 2/3, which is 49, to vote for the speaker to be removed.
okay.
So
So is
also
that is that
cannot,
is that
wait a minute. Let me just make this quick point.
don't come from me on layaway here.
I bet
You need
I
to
bet
ask.
you.
You need to
So
ask.
we cannot create a vacuum. That vacuum would be created because here we go. The invited speaker cannot create a section, cannot, institute a section to move forward, but the majority has it, and we're saying that the majority is not legitimate. So that's where we have our problems, from my own estimation. So go ahead, sir.
So
Uh-huh.
you hit the hit nail on the head. Is that still makes the process inconclusive because if they can't get what the law requires to get certain things done, and we have a divided house like this, what is the potential risk?
Well, the potential risk is this, that they can pass any bill in the majority section because they will have the single majority, 50 plus one. The only vote that needs 2/3 right now is the vote of the speaker remover. And if they pass a bill and the bill goes to the president and is vetoed, then it goes back to the House. That means you need the kind of folks or 2/3 to pass that bill on the second time. You see, so that's what the vacuum comes in. The only vote that's needed right now for the 2/3 majority is to remove the speaker. And right now, if people say that they lost confidence in the speaker, and they got the single majority and more plus, I don't see why Mr. Kofa is still trying to bother this thing because the rule says that. In as much as We watched that thing with Johnson. What they did is they cast the vote. The vote was there. They had 9, 6 move over or 7 move over, and then it remained. It was no 3 more, and they went in the back, and Trump made a call, and they came back and said he had the 218 to 215. So he became speaker. But those people were trying to send a message to Speaker Johnson that there were certain things that they were not going to be accepted from him. You think deals were made and that he compromised? That's exactly what I said on this show earlier, that when Fanati left Italy and went home, he should have done his due diligence by first meeting guys, talking to them, and creating a forum so that discussions can be held other than going unspoken. I don't want to call the other people name, other network, and actually accusing these people of why they were doing this and why they were doing that, and that they wanted personal benefits out of it. And when you do that, you have already mud in the water. So to make that water clear now, you need a whole lot of stuff to make the water clear. And that was his biggest mistake. And I think people are resonating with that he shouldn't have gone in and tried to cascade against his colleagues.
So,
And
what
so
do
this is
you,
where we are today.
yeah. So what do you think about, because yeah, other school of thought also arguing, okay, he knew this thing, he shouldn't have gone first and foremost with the president. Other people are saying because talk to 2 lawmakers uh,
Uh-huh.
who two
From
one,
Liberia,
eh,
2 lawmakers in Liberia.
in Liberia regarding this. They were initially with the COFA column,
Uh-huh.
and one of them said was that when this whole thing, in fact, it started before he COFA left.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
And it began to escalate when he was here.
Yep.
And they personally placed a phone call to say, hey, Mr. Speaker,
Yep.
this is what XYZ going on. You
Mm-hmm.
need to come back. And according to him, if he's correct,
Mm-hmm.
the speaker had a conversation with the president, and the president said, well, everything going to be okay because you're going to tell his people to stand down. I don't know whether that is true.
Come on now.
Yeah, but he told him to come. I mean, I'm just only saying what he
I
said.
know. I know.
Right. And his final argument, because he didn't listen to him, because
Uh-huh.
he was telling him that was one of the reasons that he ended up leaving to go
Okay.
going. But then there was another layer added, which of course,
Yeah.
this white collar crime, which of course, when money is involved in politics,
Exactly.
it quickly changes hand, and
Yeah.
it makes people to kind of like to develop something.
You know,
Yeah.
so
So what I'm saying, so let me ask you before you come to your point. Do
yeah.
you think it was being a good political decisions on the part of Kofa at the time when he was in the States, when these things were going off him to a return? Was that a mistake he made? I spoke against that. I don't know why you don't want to call their name. They call other people name. That was unspoon. That was the biggest mistake he did,
Yeah.
without even consolidating his political grip to talk to his colleagues to see here. And I'm kind of like surprised. You know, this whole thing is a two-sided thing. I'm kind of surprised. You being a deputy speaker, even though new people came on board after the
Yeah.
election, but as a speaker, the very first thing you need to do was to make sure to secure a block to secure a sort of a voting demographic, because ultimately the removal of a speaker is in their rules that only there we're not going to vote. You and myself are not going to go. So I'm kind of surprised that he did not have that sort of number, that number in his column. All these years he served as deputy speaker, and he became speaker for that time. He didn't build that sort of political coalition or political will so that he can be strong. I'm surprised that that didn't happen.
Well, you got to understand the demographic and the process in Liberia, my brother. Number one is look at Charles Schumer. How long Charles Schumer been? Charles Schumer was a freshman in 1996 from New York going in. He, Jack Reed, and all of these guys. Charles Schumer paid his dues. And today he's highly respected. Hakeem Jeffries on the side of the representative. He has built, you see, Fanati forgot himself instead of constituting a base as deputy speaker and as speaker. Now, you have to have following, people that you listen to. That's what gives you leadership. Those are the leadership ability you need to have. 4 months into being speaker, Fanati knew that this thing was in the works. 4 months into his inauguration. Even up to the day Fanati was celebrating his birthday and they went marching in the Capitol building, people there with balloons, they're singing happy birthday, and he's doing his arm, he's moving his arm. This was all after his house burned down. Fanati went on the very same network and said that when his house burned down, each representative gave him $1,000. I'm not making this up. This is on the show. The same time he was looking to castigate these guys' character, he made the comment. So you'd pretty good tell me if you got a call, if I got a call in the States that said, listen, this thing has escalated from the way you left it. I would have taken my first flight. I don't care if the president called me because he shouldn't have even gone to Italy with the president. And I already made my sentiment clear on that. The speaker and the president should not be traveling together, just as the speaker and the vice president should not travel together. Because that's a serious threat to the nation if something should happen with both of them.
So you're taking it from the security context?
Yeah, from the security context. From the security context. It was wrong for him to even go with the president. I don't care if the president invited him. He should have understood that, listen, I'm the second man from the vice president. If something should happen to you, unfortunately, God forbid, and the vice president is not it's him that's supposed to be there. You see? And those are the things that from security perspective and from from government and democracy, those things don't happen easily. When the president wanted to meet with the speaker to go to chambers, or the speaker go to the White House, and that's it. They don't outside the country. Fanati should have known better when he got that conversation. He should have gone back and called these guys and go into caucus with them. Nobody there with them.
So what I try to sense out here, based on the information you're providing, which of course makes sense, is it fair to say it was some sort of political ploy much deeper than he, Fanati, Kofa thought? Because you also have the opposition bond. Kofa is not an original origins, is not an original sedition.
Sedition.
I think that is another component in itself. So do you think it was a ploy? What should he be doing by this time? Let me bring in Mr. Goya. He's here.
Well, let me just say this. Oh, Mr. Goya. My man, you refuse to call me to answer my calls and what have you, but that's okay. I'll get to you after the show.
Yeah, I'm in Ghana right now with my own speaker, so I can talk to other people.
I know.
Me and Buffer Chambers, we in Ghana right now. So he got a letter too. So
How will you be with Buffer? Buffer Chambers the other day, yeah. Says the interview our guy
we stay contesting the election. Buffer Chambers did not lose.
No, you're not doing that. You're not doing that.
We took our speaker to Ghana. He got only letter too. So we are going to be there.
Always. What kind of business? You know what? Is that a letter contest?
Happy 2025 to you, Moses.
2025, I saw your text. You said Ghana with the Ghanaian parliament and my speaker got invited. I'm like, this guy something wrong.
We got a speaker get escort. We would all of y'all get your escort.
Listen, you're a piece of work, man. You're a piece of work. You know. But so back to the topic, and what I can tell you is that Fanati, you see, these are some of the embarrassment that Snow looked at and Snow resigned. Tyler, the same thing. Because you got to sense and preempt what's going to happen based on the sources of information you have. And we shouldn't be at this point. All he should have done right now, what he needs to do is step aside. He's still a representative. He is still a representative, and he can go into caucus and make a case. That was not taken away from him. It's not going to be taken away from him because he was elected. Now, you made an excellent point that he was now originally, when he was elected the last time, he was not a seditious. But the other for him, it was strategic for him to become a seditious in the second election, and because he was eyeing the speakership. And he hung around where we are. They went down to the southeast, and he was campaigning where we are in the southeast. But then, and all that stuff like that.
Your liver was paying that thing over and over because
but what he didn't do, he never campaigned in Monrovia or any other county with George Weah. He did not.
Okay, that's something you bring. Let me bring in Sister.
You see, so my thing is that if anyone did something to him, it was his own sedition. How did he get into the CDC without doing his homework? And that's the thing.
All right. When people try to avoid these sort of conversation, but it's still playing into the politics here. So
Of course it does.
Happy.
Of course it does.
New Year. Mama, why you there on New Year Day?
How would I mean?
Yeah, no.
I
was just minding my business.
2025 good troubles and I'm minding business there.
Oh yeah, I was waiting for the year to start for him to start the trouble time. So I was resting, I was minding my own business, and I called nobody me on Facebook. I can get through my thing in, and people be making blah with me. So all I did, New Year Day, I just sat down. And no, it was good, man. I was thankful, when we take a lot of things for granted. But I was thankful for good health and family. Family is always around. So we stay home. I usually don't do the watch night things. I've since I left Liberia, I haven't been to a watch night service. Simply because the data out there for watch nights and Valentine's Day and Memorial Day weekend, Labor Day, and St. Patrick's Day. And it's a lot of drunk driving accidents that happen during those days. A lot of people, you might not be drunk, but the next person you're sharing the street with, violated. So I know something gonna carry you one day, but that's one of my rituals that I've had since I came in this country over 2 decades now. I've never been to a watch night service. I stay home on those major days where people are going to be drinking and celebrating. So I was home and I was watching a bunch of televangelists, and it can also save me money because when I'm watching a pastor online, I gotta get money. I using my data.
Be paying that. Why you don't pay?
You're a pastor too. What are you talking about?
I can start my chat. What you say, was
I said, but people that be paying their offering entire God support or sow their seed. So why you watch somebody preaching, telling you the word of God? You don't want to. You can't.
Yeah, I checked the Dow Jones and the Standards and Poor's, and then I sold my seed in the Dow Jones and the Standards and Poor's. It's a guaranteed return on there from the stock market.
You're thinking where you gonna get by, not something that you get.
I was buying shares in Walmart. I was buying shares in Walmart and other places.
Okay. So look, I don't know. The devil to dress is so hard.
Yeah.
Well, what do you make of all of these things that is going? Because I checked the Ghana embassy. And if this was some sort of how do you call this to get this type of propaganda that it is? I don't know how this generated. What is why? Why should we go?
Mr. So, I keep saying this on this platform. A lot of the people that get elected in Liberia, people that are in leadership.
Oh, let me just tell you, Fatu sent me a message that she said she said the liberal is inconsistent. Oh yeah. Oh man. Fatu, thank you so much. She said, you know what? You say, I didn't know you the one. I mean, not you. She
Oh.
thought I was the bad guy, but now she has come to realize because she
Look at the good guy. Look at the good guy. Look at the good guy.
Oh, yeah, she realized I the good guy. He said,
Look at the good guy.
I know.
He said, Apostle man.
Every time in my inbox one day,
they changed the name from Sanction Avenue. The Apostle can be here.
They saw me at a Lofa event one day. They said, "Oh, but sister, I really didn't know you were Lofia. I just thought I knew you get it, but you crew man." I said, "I'm a crew man." So you do force it than a crew man. But on a serious note, you know, it's one thing getting elected. There's one thing governing.
Yeah.
And I'm not even talking about the president or, you know, down to the speaker. I'm talking about just the representatives. In your office, the kind of staff you select determines how the quality of your leadership. You have money for researchers in your office, but you go tell your girlfriend, brother, and put in there that's never written a paper in high school, and you want to go and debate a budget. You know nothing about it because the staff that's supposed to inform you, because we expect that you don't know everything. That's the reason you got a staff, right? And the staff that's supposed to do the research and give you your talking points. You know how many times my bosses can be going to school board meeting and she will call me in the middle, you know, hey, CZ, I need some talking points on this math thing is coming up. I need some talking points. This program we're running or this program you decided to cancel in the district. Give me some talking points. I'm giving her what she's going to say because she trusts me as the expert that she's hired. But if she were going to hire her brother-in-law who just graduated from high school, it would just feel nonsense. So I'm saying this to say, Speaker Kofa, legitimately, in my mind, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to disrespect the Supreme Court. But the way I look at the proceedings in the House, it's still the Speaker, but on paper.
Yeah.
You got to be careful with NSA Musa Bedete go to our poster on my page. As Musa Bedete can carry frames. He carry Liberty Party to the CDP. When he carry frame, he let the engine with another party. He go beyond Kofa. He carry paper to Kofa. You have to understand right now, Fonati, they have removed your escorts. They've started paying you a representative salary. So what kind of speaker are you when they take away your power? What are you still holding on to? The first problem is they should not have gotten in this place. Remember when they were in Mr. So when they were in the Vatican when they returned. I said one of the biggest mistakes Speaker Kofa made was the day he got in the country, the very next day, instead of canceling that, they should have gone to the setting. They should have gone there. Why those minority sitting in some kind of room, when the speaker walks into the room, automatically the speaker is the presiding officer. You're working with your people. You have your core on there right away. You have the conversation there right away. But you allow people, and this is where the leadership comes in. He allow people.
It's said the surroundings in terms.
Yes, they blur his vision. They blur his vision, Mr. So. If people will tell you we're down together, don't do it. And you as the leader got to be able to go back and step back, Mr. So, and look. Because everybody that's telling you we're down together also have political interest. Remember,
and I think that's a valid point you just inserted here, because at that time his number was still even high. Yes. There was no way this group called themselves a majority. They never had a number in the first place. So there could be no any vote that could.
That's where you're going to diffuse it.
An embarrassing thing for them.
And instead of sending Thomas Fala to go be like one of the three wise men that went to see the newborn king of the Jew and now return back to Herod, instead of sending Fala, he should have gone himself. Go with your group. I am here. You cannot be Speaker Kofa in the room with those people and somebody else gavel intersection.
Correct.
That would be automatically illegal, right? And when you enter there as Speaker Kofa and they decide to leave, now that I bring people see them, this is how you turn the electorate in your favor. Now there will be no argument from the Unity Party or people who support Richard Coon and say, oh, Coon is legit, because they would have said, what else do you want to speak for Kofa? You accused the man came into your den, the man sat there with you and said, but now let's talk about this. And y'all refused. The liberal people would have seen through that. But number one, he didn't go to the session. Number two, he decided to become like independent MPFL and INTFL and sit in areas, right? And then, but once you do that, Mr. So one of the things that people didn't learn is that when Ulimo was together, they were good. Once Ulimo split into J and K, it was difficult for them to ever trust each other to come back. Same thing with the EPFL. Same thing with the House. Once you allow that split to crystallize, and then you allow your front soldiers, like the people that were insulting the other people, trying to beat and the other person, and will do that. Once you allow that venom to crystallize, it makes it very difficult for you to bridge that gap. And I think people push them too far in a corner. Sorry, some people don't. People pushing too far in a corner. He allow people to push him too far in the corner. Instead of him getting closer to the bridge, they push him farther away from the bridge. So now, what is the exit? What is really is the respectable exit? In my mind, as I hope I'm educated, Speaker Kofa is still the speaker. But on paper, when the president travel, he don't travel with you. There was a video of the president sitting somewhere. He Kofa went there, and Kun was sitting down where he's supposed to be sitting down. He went, he bowed, he shook him, and he left. So to what end now? To what end are you still doing this? That's the question I got with Speaker Kofa.
On this president, before you come in here, and Moses can throw it on this president, because I think right now Kofa knows it, but he's doing everything now to question the leadership style and the political career of President Joseph Boyka. That under Boyka's administration, the speakership, the legislative first branch of government was inkilled. I wonder if this was kind of like orchestrated unknowingly, or he just for some reason it's the same thing when something starting. Oh, don't worry, man, that thing will not happen. We're gonna put it down. I can remember when even starting from the war. Oh, that thing during them, man, with people they didn't know how you're gonna look like. But Moses, this whole thing here, I'm wondering how the Sunanta gonna look like when the president is addressing how you're gonna be going. Why are you going to be like, would there be any resolution?
Well, listen, I don't think it's president to decide whether there's resolution or not. Number one is that, let me just support what Sister said earlier. To tell you that these guys who were going after Kofa were they had a little bit of reservation. You know where they had their first meeting? Their first meeting was on the Sunday before Fanati returned to Liberia. It was at the Pinsville City Hall. Yep. It was at the Pinsville City Hall. I watched the entire commentary. They went there fearing that they didn't have and when they got there, I think they had about 39 or 42. And they said, we got more people that's supposed to come in. So these guys they were a little hesitant, wanted to move forward. And as Cesar said, if Fanati had come back and gone to that section and walked in there, he would stay speaker, he would stay control the gavel. And he could have kicked the press out of there, the press people out of there, and said, listen, we're going to wash our dirty clothes in here. Whether or not I remain speaker, we're going to make sure we fight in this room, and nobody's going to be here, but we're going to come up with a consensus that we have a speaker. Either me or I will agree with someone. That's what leadership is. And if he had taken that step, people were going to respect him more today. And that's what leadership is. You don't come in and think you're above all. And to tell you, to this end, he looking at the president, he going this, he's digging himself a bigger hole, from our own analogy. Because every time he does something like walking in with Richard Cohn there, and he's not giving the kind of attention, it makes him look terrible. And you cannot continue to do that. And he should be educated enough and know the process. He was deputy speaker for a long time. So this is not new to him. He was there when they removed Tyler. He was there in the legislature when they removed Snow. So he knew the practices. And that's where I'm coming from, because when you look at the letter, and one of the things that you need to pay attention to, I come in my own security team running again, okay? But when you look at some of the Facebook, and when they put that letter out to Kuhn, and it was on Spoon, and I read some of the comments, and some of those comments that were in there, really, if I was a security person, some of those people there would be monitoring some of those things. People put anything on Facebook and to implicate themselves. In some of the, I read a thing, the guy said, well, war coming start. What do you mean war coming start? We're going back to war. So where are you coming from making that kind of comments? But those are people that just need to, you need to, from a security perspective, you need to start documenting and following some of those individuals. People going in and just putting general comment and all these kind of things, derogatory comments, and Facebook in this country, the people use it for a lot of things. Investigation of crimes, Facebook play an important role. That's why every time there's a crime committed, they arrest an assailant. The first thing to do, we need to go to the Facebook page and see what is right in there and and all that stuff like that. But to this end, Fanati really needs to do this for the greater good of the nation. And I think he would be respected more if he comes out and make that statement. Because right now, as Sissy said,
to say what? To say what in the statement?
To step aside. He would be a bigger man. He would have a big boy pants on. He got to put his big boy pants on to step aside instead of creating the vacuum.
But look at,
I don't know if he still has his follower, but some of those.
That was the thing, Moses.
They're moving on the other side now.
Let me interject and you move in, because if you're talking about him doing the honorable thing, I don't know what that is. I don't even think he has that chip anymore. But look at what happened if I want you to opine on the whole thing about doing the honorable thing, right?
Yeah.
There is a communication on Facebook that is supposedly written by Musa Beliti that said he has been elected as the leader of the 28 press member block.
What?
And Funati Kofa congratulated him.
What
does that mean? Does that mean now that the minority, the Speaker block now has a new leader and that's Musa Belete? So what's Funati role in that block if that is true? So when you're talking about making the honorable thing, the longer he stays, people are going to start leaving for honor him, undermining him, and instead of being an honorable exit, it will be. So how do you? I'm just thinking.
No.
If you were advising him, how does he stay save face, stay his political career, work and be the person that stood out for the Constitution and the rights and for the country? How does he manage all of those things, knowing that he has a lack of ability that's already posting supposedly that he got elected as the head of the 28-member bloc?
Well, I said that absence of my knowledge of that document. So let me let you know that I'm pleading fifth. No, seriously, because if he continues to do those things, then he's not an honorable person anymore. And I get your point, but I didn't know that communication was already out there. I made my comment absence of those things, and it's sad. It's sad. That's my brother. I love. Went to school together. I love the brother, but at some point,
and where they died again, I kept saying on this platform, this was not a constitutional thing. This was a political thing that required a political solution.
Solutions, exactly.
When Funati came to Liberia, I was one of those on this platform yelling at the people that were camping at RLJ that a bunch of grown-ups will leave their homes and go camp in a warehouse somewhere, somebody take their phone from it. The problem here is that you return to the country. Liberia is not an America where you have two strong political parties. Everybody in In Congress, you either Democrat or Republican. In the Senate, you got independents, but the caucus most time with the Democrats, right? So you're kind of like a whitewashed Democrat. In Liberia, you have all of these splinter groups.
But I told him that.
But the CDC, and the Unity Party have enough people that can try to give you quorum.
Correct.
When you got back, you are still a sedition. What you didn't play right in politics. I'm not talking about the legal side. People can argue all the legal side, what the Supreme Court say. I'm not a legal expert. For me, I follow what the Justice Minister said as the interpretation because he's the G. Anybody else can always say that lie, and they show their own will look through it.
I know.
They went to law school. So I'm not going to argue ultra various, but I'm looking at the politics because I've done politics here.
Yeah.
The problem was that he didn't look at his back flank. Immediately after the election, Speaker Buffer Chambers, who had been Speaker for the entirety of the Jowea presidency, accused Funati Kofa of being the mastermind behind his defeat.
Yes. Yes.
Speaker Chambers still have goodwill with other colleagues that got re-elected.
Yep.
He didn't see that. Thomas Fala is a politician just like you. He too has an ambition. Who just want to be deputy and don't want to be the minister? Thomas Fala have been in CDC longer than you. But the CDC voted for you overwhelmingly to become speaker. You think that didn't create some a little bit of a stuff. You didn't see their back flank. When you got back, instead of going to President Weir, former President Weir, and sit there and don't take promises. Let's call these people on the phone. Let's have them here right now. Let the party get involved. Go to President Boakai, who have been taking the Dalama Beneti, and say, Mr. President, will you keep on the country? Do you have my back or you don't have my back? If you have my back, I know you as the president cannot speak in this, but I need some heavy hitter from the Unity Party to speak in this on my behalf. You have to at least commit to that. You get some commitment, but they didn't do that. For about a week or two, Speaker Kofa was just wearing white coat and white suit and good suit, then walking around, and people dancing behind him, muya, muya, and you get my uncle Vandela Patre there going for all kind of things, doing all kind of funny things. Right? So for me, I think there was a lot of blunder along the way, a lot of political blunder, not legal, a lot of political calculations. And I will hope that if he's thinking about a resurgence, either running for president or vice president, I hope he learns from this. Because sometimes your advisor will give you advices, but the buck stops with you. You have to be able to step back and look at all of the calculations that are happening.
Exactly. And I don't know how many of our officials, they even listen to their because in the first place, they pick people who they think is the comfortable way, who would just say yes, they don't want to get and then highline in the sense that we're looking your face to say, hey, no, chief, let's do it this way. This way is not the right way. Don't say yes today. Today should be no. They don't look for those kind of people. And I think that's what happens. It looked like I don't think much homework was done. Probably it was kind of planned, and he got himself into this bubble unknownly to himself without thinking, putting himself in the open world. Well, let's switch gear. I'm surprised Esther that what her name to not reach out to you with this whole information. But when she play out, they put the information out. But let's talk about this.
She didn't tell you nothing.
She's testing me another. She said when the liberal come on before I should talk it, she's telling me before I speak all the information. You know, my own.
This is that some of his survey he was conducting from the last show, but asking people who is more independent, he or the liberal. So I think he went and said something to Fatu. So Fatu saying the text message.
I would say she's all be wishing the answer. But this is your area I want us to discuss because this lady here is surfaced a long time, and this lady with the president decisions, she is the number 14 person, Lilat McPyant. I happened to visit their house. They're right here in neighboring Massachusetts, the houseman. Seaboot McPyant is a friend. With Agile, we had a meeting there. I was president of the New England chapter. Met, I think, once, very briefly. I think I have that picture. I can't remember what she was there about, the fakes and stuff. But now, here is the conversation. This is kind of that. First of all, let me start with you. What you make of that? Sissy,
well,
yeah.
So if you see me, I've been trying to stay out of the UL politics. Full disclosure.
You don't have to stay. Oh, where are you?
Full disclosure, on that list, I have quite a few people who are close to me who applied for that. I had no call with anybody or any of that committee whatsoever because I felt like there were some qualified people on that list. And I was concerned about the length of time it was taking for the president to make a decision, especially after he appointed Asa Conte to come to the U.S. But having said that, I've read through the bio of the president, the appointed president of the University of Liberia. I've seen some of her lectures, some of her presentations. I'm actually even looking at some of her published work and scholarly work and stuff. She's very qualified. She's qualified. My concern is as an engineer. Well, even in high school, remember we used to do the thing, child's law and boys' law. We say holding all things constant.
Yeah.
You hold constant. You're holding STP, standard temperature pressure.
Yeah.
But you know when you get outside there in the real world, temperature and pressure are not held constant, right?
No.
So she looks okay in the laboratory. One of my boys laughing and say, "Let's see what happened when she get the first Mami water, Mami water, Mami water for the song when you up again say, but it's not going to hear all the first Mami water protest."
You say the question.
I see those the first Mami water protest for me is what I'm waiting to see. But she comes from a background where student protest is not something that will be new to her. So the argument out there that I don't want to get into is this xenophobic argument about her Liberianness or not, and whether there weren't other Liberians out there that were duly qualified. I know some of them on that list that I know their credential. I wasn't a part of the interviewing committee, so I can't go and second guess them. But I think that we need to give this woman, this scholar, an opportunity to see something differently and interact a little differently. Maybe we just need somebody who is not mired in the UL politics or hasn't been to see something differently. Having said that, one of the things I want to push against the narrative that's been on Facebook. People keep trying to blame student politics for the massive failures of the University of Liberia. That is wrong. That is just cowardly. I have never, maybe I might be too young, but in my time on this earth, I have never seen a soup or a sim or whatever political party protesting against a published research of any of the professors. They've never said we don't want a professor to do research. They research, we don't like it. They have always protested against what they see as low standard out of the education or the quality of the materials or the buildings they're in. Schools are closed way too longer. The teachers lay down chalk. You go to Pupu at the University of Liberia. You gotta have a drum there to flush your own stuff. A lot of things you always protest against. Now, do I agree with the way they protest the violence nature that accompany that? Absolutely not. I think they need to learn better. They need to learn how to have discourse with people that they even disagree with without getting into fist fights. I think what this president needs to do, these lazy academics at the University of Liberia call themselves professors. Yeah, I said that. These lazy academics that have never published one peer review in the Modern Rebel Union. She should start looking at moving in from there. If you cannot publish in a regionally peer review paper, you cannot be a PhD and you cannot be a professor still drawing income for research at the University of Liberia. That is stealing from the Liberian pool. You can't be getting research stipend and you're not doing research, but you're complaining about the legislature buying 43,000 car. And so some of these people, it's in their contract, they get these research stipends. You have a research stipend, you have a fishery department, you have an agricultural department. I also people, Mr. Sua, I asked one agricultural professor one time, I said, have you determined what are the buka and the case me in a river right there to do river? Are they supposed to coexist, or is one of them and how do you call it? One of them existence affects the other. The poo green or the do river. Is it a good thing for the buka or for the? So what do you mean by that? So you haven't done a research. How many buka fish will go with it? Is buka in danger? Should we stop fishing or should we overlay fish because we're having way too much? They've never done a research, but they are getting money for that. We still planting cassava that can take one whole year before it bear. Right? We still planting rice that taking one whole year before we can harvest. We still planting pepper. If you come from Ghana, other places where they're doing research, it's not being done at the University of Liberia. We still got deep potholes right in front of the engineering building. So what are we paying you for research? So for me, if you ask me the question about the University of Liberia, I think the biggest problem in the University of Liberia got is these lazy academics that they call professors that have not done any scholarly research work or have not put into action their PhDs or their master's degrees. And I think that's where she needs to start cleaning house. If you don't publish in a regional peer review paper, then you shouldn't be a professor in the University of Liberia. We should send you to one of the community colleges so you can be there for a little bit.
Yeah, okay. I think that's a very good analysis. With that said, she's from a different culture in terms of how they go about to do their things. So my guess here is it fair to mention that there was some sort of in-depth, because before these pronouncements are made by the executive, of course, they gotta get a person. They appoint you. They don't just get or appoint you. I mean, you're gonna have a conversation. So is it possible to guess that, hey, there was a lengthy conversation in terms of what she wants to bring at the University of Liberia, her vision, how she might most likely want to get things turned around, change to address some of these issues? And it's quite correct. I mean, the protestations on the campus, they are factors they are raising. That's another way of seeking people's attention. Is it being done the proper way? Absolutely not, but because of the kind of attractions we have into this world, this is what we need to do. When we do it, we get people attention, not actually the actual attention that you want for changes to be done. Now, do you think, Moses, based on all of these things before the pronouncement here, do you think a vision was laid out to GOL? Because having a qualified person, overqualified person, to be appointed is different thing. Also, the support aspect, the support system coming from not just government, all actors, the house, the committees, both lower and upper house on education, higher education, all of that. The tendency of people when they make budget, okay, you got to put this one here, I get this other percent. Do you think that woman? Well, we don't know, but she's not somebody that's going to easily surrender to those kind of things. Most likely, I'm just saying on it. I mean, I know the house well, my sister, my client, they're good friends. But do you think this conversation was held and she made her point pretty clear before this sort of pronouncement? And is GOL willing to adhere to whatever conversation before? Because that's a huge job. Nobody wants to fail. You don't want to walk into people. The tendency of us, like in our community, you elect people, you elect them, you on your own. Then you the president, you the secretary, you the this. Or will we have people there to also start the process of undermining and who are maybe closer with other higher up to kind of put hold on her things that she wants to do? Do you think those things were kind of in overall discussed?
Well, I will hope so, because if we're talking about the same person in Massachusetts, I remember some 14 or 15 years ago, UL organization had a strong base in Lower Massachusetts, and I was invited down there with one Dr. McCrae, John McCrae, out of URI, and I think you Alfonso know Dr. John McCrae, and we had gone there for their installations, and she was there, and she spoke very eloquently, and she's been in the vanguard of the fight for a long time, as far as UL, as far as I'm concerned. And I remember one time during the Ellen administration that President Dennis came to town, and they were hosting him in Massachusetts. And the very group reached out to Dr. McCrae to have a sit-down conversation with Dr. McCrae. 2 hours before that meeting, President Dennis decided he was taking another trip and couldn't meet with Dr. McCrae. And the reason why I say this is because the route from where she comes, I think there was a lot of work being done in the background to prepare her for what needs to happen. And what we can do is we can only hope that she goes in with some conditions set as to why she's accepting the position. Because when you go in for these interviews and stuff like that, you have to lay out your vision, and that vision has to come with certain conditions. And I think this is, and we're talking about, Cece alluded to the fact that, some of the protests on the campuses have been because of the condition of the school and, shutting down because, the professor putting it. I remember in the late 70s, when the protests happened, those protests we had, the people at the university, when we talk about Sioux protests before the rest riot and all that stuff like that, they were protesting because of genuine reasons of situation, their conditions on campus, how to build the facility, what it is that they were getting to get the kind of education to advance the importance of the country or to advance the workforce of the country. And those were the things happening. But today we see people protesting on all any kind of stuff now at the university. You can go there and just put your group together. They get up every day. We see them sequence. They go there to be talking all kind of things, dancing and all that. CDC, a little group, 15 people will say they're having protests on campus. You see, so she has a lot of stake for her, and like Sissy said, she has to be prepared, and I think she is prepared. She has to lay down some condition, and we can pray and hope that she's going in. One of the things we talked about the other time was that the announcement or they went in and said they're going to start a PhD program at the university. Here we are. The university been shut down for what, 7, 8 months now? And that announcement came 3 months into the university being shut down. Where were we going with that? Where were we coming from with that? You see, so those are the challenges that she's gonna face. And I hope we gotta pray for her to stand up to it and really challenge it, because you know better in this country. When you go in for a job interview and you tell them, they tell you that's what they put you on, 90 days probation, 6 month probation. Because if it's not a fit for you and the organization, y'all can part ways. But in a position, that's it. You can put your condition down. So I hope she went in that interview process, and I can only pray that she laid out her conditions, and that she is under the condition of X, Y, and Z. And yes, most of the professors need to really something needs to happen. Look at the Fender campus they just built. What, 10, 15 years ago? You go on Fender campus now, it's zeros. Zero. You know? So we need to, the university is the first line of good governance in our country. It's where you can start to people can start to learn on how to be leaders, how to move about, how to become good citizen, and understanding your civic responsibility to your nation. So, right now, high school, secondary school is just it's I don't know what's going on there, but the post-secondary, we need to look at that very well. So we pray that she does the right. We pray, and we're going to keep praying for her. There are a lot of resources that she can tap into.
No,
but you see, sister, get what it is. Prayer without work is useless. So we need to step up to the plate.
We need to. I think we need to build
stuff.
We need to build some. We need to have some sort of electronic device to censor some of these prayers, because some of your prayer then can be the one cause the problem.
The prayer they gotta be checked.
Yeah, we gotta check. We gotta check some prayer. Then when they finish praying for you, then your whole situation get worse.
Guess what?
There was one and they called me the other day. They one bishop came and it was raining. Whatever day, they swarmed the entire post there. The next day, I said, but what kind of delivery you went for? You come for that bishop pray for you, then so you're gonna be careful how your people laying hand on you and all that kind of stuff. But okay, let's before we go here. If you were put in this situation, knowing the history, and I mean, these people, they used to attention, they get a lot of stuff here. How will you address the student? Maybe your first interaction, student wants to hear you, or you want to meet the students. What could be the thing should be coming out of hall? If that case, assuming that sort of forum is provided.
I want to some ideas on what to do, because I don't know of any person met with the students first.
You need to do with the students, or just work with them?
Look, yeah. Look, this she comes from an HBCU. The struggles of the civil rights movement ran through the HBCUs.
Correct.
The student coordinating committee, SNCC, that the late Representative John Lewis and other people came out of, the good trouble. They came out of those student agitation. So I don't see her and looking at somebody who has extensively studied this feminist empowerment, womenism, and all these other pieces. I don't see her as going into this thing to silence student voice. I see her as coming out to use student voice as a means to propel the university. I think if I were advising her, one of the first things I would advise her to do would be, because like Moses spoke about, when the interview committee interviewed you, you look at the vision and the mission of the university. This is a presidential appointment, so you have to look at the arrest agenda and look at the vision of the president, because you don't have your own vision.
No.
Right? You look at the vision of the president and see how do you drive that. Now, none of us here were privy to her answers. I think the first thing she's supposed to do is to have a town hall. Whether it can be on Facebook, she shouldn't go to any media house. So it can be like a spoon or something. You have a university town hall, simulcasted by the University of Liberia. You were sitting in a town hall with town halls with some people in an auditorium, but you can't fit everybody there. But it's simulcasted on the internet. And you are laying out your vision and your mission on how you plan to move the university forward. And you are taking questions. And you strategically note that there will be some questions and some suggestions that you say, oh yeah, I wasn't thinking about that. Write that down, put that as part of my plan. You play on students and say, oh, we have a voice in there. She didn't come already with an already cooked pepper soup for her from her house, and she said she just putting water on it now. When the oil finished, just put chicken inside and say, still making kobo. No, she cooked it right in front of us. We all were part of the cooking process. You do that. You get students to realize that this is not something that's happening to us. This is something that we are happening together.
You're part of.
And the next thing I would like to see is her top leadership group, all the vice presidents. I want to see if she's in charge of appointing those vice presidents. I really want to see the caliber of people, the reshuffle, if any, that she's going to do, to start to send a message to the student population that we are taking a detour, or we are continuing going and doing business the way it's always been done before. So if I were advising this fine, smart, scholarly woman, is my first thing will be, nobody know where your mission and your vision is. Like Takunje can say, your mission and your intention, your vision for this nation, go to the University of Liberia students. They are your consumers. You're doing customer service. You are telling them what it is that you hope to do for the university in partnership with them. That would be my one advice. If you don't do that, people will start to build a narrative and say, oh, the woman want to do that one, that she want to do the other one, that now we end up with all of these similar things with the speakers having all their own invitation on. We got to figure which one are true, which one are lie, and then you'll be fighting from the back. So that would be my advice. If anybody were to ask me, if she was to call me or anybody in a circle, that's the first thing to do. You hit the ground running. You talk to the students directly. They are the consumers of the products that you are creating. Build a coalition. Move the university forward together.
You know, Sese, you just made an excellent point. And I think Alfonso will agree with you. Will agree with me also when I say this. The first Ivy League female president was at Brown University. Ruth Simmons. That's exactly how she approached her tenure of office. In fact, I was privileged to have been sitting in the front row when Ellen Joseph Sirleaf, our former president, visited the university, Brown University. I was sitting in the front. And Ruth Simmons went in with that mindset. And she talked about what now has been a popular, ingredient into the American politics and, everyday life of servant leadership. Like you said, the consumers at the students. You need to empower them, but it also comes with a huge responsibility. Now, if they're going to sit at the table with her and speak, they have the responsibility to make sure that they'll implement and make sure that the vision comes to light. And I couldn't agree with Moses said that if she takes this kind of approach, I think it will be one of the best ever at the university, because you're not marginalizing the students. In fact, you're bringing them in to have a voice, to be a part of the process of revamping or creating a structure of commonality. And they can be part of the student body that can even sit to interview professors, incoming professors, to see how, and they can do some evaluation. You see, one of the things we don't have in Liberia is performance evaluations. Don't laugh, as I say. We don't do that because
I'm laughing because I've had students as part of interviewing committees for me to interview teachers. I've had students on interview panel to interview teachers.
Yes. And so these are things that are productive to the educational settings, that are productive. When you empower students, they take on the responsibility and they show up and they show down. And once you build that relationship with them, you got nothing to worry about, because the first thing is, before something goes down, you'll be the first to know. They feel free to come and talk to you first and foremost. Oh, Madam President, so things coming to happen. We need to make sure that we sit down. We can have the meeting and discuss so that this won't escalate to something else. This so professor, X, Y, and Z going on, and his attendance in the class is this and that, and we need to look at it. Evaluation. When was the last time the university students evaluated any professor?
Is that on the university alone? So what's about typical work site?
We're talking about university. Don't talk about the website.
What I'm saying is, we should just take if we want the country, we must just take a holistic approach in getting these things.
You're right.
The work issue, the people that are there, where they come from, work. Now, if we have a work area where there's no supervision, there's no evaluation, be it quarterly or annually. How do you know the person is performing or they're not performing?
Exactly. But you see, the fear comes in when you have evaluations and you don't have it with incentives. You see, and that's where policy, public personnel management comes in. Because when you have evaluation, there has to be an incentive that would encourage people to go. When you set your goal and you have it,
Your incentive is keeping your job.
What kind of
I can tell you one thing. Says it's not the way that people look at it nowadays. You see, in the security thing, when they do the evaluation, they give you 1%, 2%, 3%.
You're worried about people protecting your life.
I don't want to get a PB budget and say we can't see anything here.
The first problem, the budget can be supported. Then you go 1% increase to go back to capital and go bigger again.
No, but like the other day, so 1 second, me just say, like the other day, I made reference to the fact that right there where Alfonso is, Benasoa is, the private school system annual budget is over $300 million. What's the budget for the University of Liberia? They said $33 million.
Last year,
added $2 million to it.
Last year in my school district, we had to cut $110 million because we're $110 million budget shortfall.
There you go.
So if you're taking $10 million,
the University of Liberia got who need 32 million. They had 28 million. They added 3 more million.
But I think what they can do though,
there
was my concern. My one concern is, all these jokes aside.
Yeah.
So I think we're all old enough to remember the Lone Star hiring foreign coaches.
Yeah.
And the most recent one, I'm really hoping, I don't want to pray, I'm really hoping that this doesn't become one of those. We hire foreign coaches for our Lone Star. We're having a foreign coach technically for our university.
So Goya, that was the essence of the question I was asking. I hope there was extensive conversation.
Right.
Because some of these things you have to, and just what we do here, when you apply for whether it doesn't matter. But when you go, if the job will say, this is what I have, and you can put a deal. Okay, well, I can take it or it's small based on your own professional experience and stuff like that. But if you just take it and without you don't tell them your conditions as to this is if that not really putting your demand, but you also want to know. And I know she's not a novice. No. She's a Fulbright scholar, specialist at the University of Liberia. So she's not somebody that just from outside of the wall and walking in there. So she's being provided consultancy.
And that's the point, because look, and that is the thing, when people talk about how they're doing this, I don't want to get to it because we're okay hiring foreign coaches for Lone Star, not just foreign coaches for the University of Liberia. That is the argument I'm not going to get into anybody. However, we are hoping that the University of Liberia system or the president of the Republic of Liberia can learn something from what happened at the LFA with those foreign coaches that made those foreign coaches to leave, and Liberia did not actualize anything whatsoever. And those coaches left with bad blood. So there was a lose-lose situation. How do we ensure that we are building, because I'm going to talk soccer because I always know in Liberia, that we are building a technical team, a technical committee around, and we allow her to build a technical committee, but that we know the mission. Are we going to African Cup of Nations this year or the next one? Are we going to World Cup qualifiers there? Do we hope to qualify or come or not qualify this year, but we're going to build a winning record, or we're going to break 50-50 next time? We're hoping to go to World Cup, right? What is the plan? Like Moses talked about with the PhD program, the doctoral programs. Those are our workups, right? What are we doing right now? How, for example, did she talk about decentralizing the University of Liberia?
Correct.
Does she understand that maybe we need to have a University of Liberia at Vonjama, a University of Liberia at Granjide, a University of Liberia at, so that it is decentralized, and all of those places have their own specialty, those universities, right? Those sections of the universities. We don't know. And that is why I said that if I were advising her, instead of allowing us all to guess what her mission and her vision is that she told the interviewing committee, have a tete-a-tete with your consumers, the university students. Lay it out. Be in front of it. But I hope this doesn't end up like, our foreign coaches that leave because we bring them. We don't provide the funding. B, we don't provide the technical staff. And then, C, we want to micromanage to the point that we don't even understand how to play the football, but we want to be the one telling people who to put in the game, who not to put in the game. And then the person leaves and go.
And just so hopefully, we not want to put people go there to put throw in a building. And instead of her finding good panel door for the gateway, putting steel, then you just go behind the hall and just grab some kind of plane 2x4. They do that, they do supposed to be here. And that is to allow people, when people are in charge, and that's the problem that we have. When you give people responsibility, allow them to perform. So when they screw up, then you hold them accountable. When you give people a piece of job and you on the other side, you want to be to have the remote to be controlling and like the toddlers, they're playing their video game, then that's a problem. Okay, gentlemen, what a good day. You see the liberal, around my mouth, I told him what Fatu said, so he's scared in a way that what he didn't show, I made a mistake. I should have let him to come here. So now Fatu will keep it on even. When I say, as soon as he come, well, yes, I was saying you the.
I think a lot of representatives who say I was with them, but I'm not with them, they're back with them, but I'm not with them again. And think about Fatu, that means so text me, I must say, that my own thing.
Your own record spoil. They say you force me already, so if I do not want to listen to you. But most, Mr. Goyat, again,
don't call the man Goyat, call him CSG. The man is CSG, they say CSG.
Okay.
No, and that's CSGA is the one CSG.
Okay. Well, so I call you CSGA now. The man let me walk about. That's what it's called.
Yeah. So they wanna CSGA, me firstborn son. But we gotta talk behind the scene.
The man don't want me to call him real name with CSGA. That can walk around.
Yeah, that CSGA can walk about too much.
Yeah. But gentlemen, we want to thank you so much again. I can't overemphasize your.
Moses, I will try to call you, man. Sorry.
I beg you.
Yeah, I will try to call you.
The higher you can start forming black gold. When you start, so you're not calling me, you're calling Moses.
No, in different speaker group are carrying a buffer chamber. So I'm looking for other people that can come protect our own group. We need something.
You were trying to cross, so something like, oh man, these guys.
So
then he asked him,
they asked the all the report, all the people that
can you imagine?
Well, Mr. So, I think one of the things we should talk about next time has to do with it, where Americone working from afar.
Who? Americone? You doing what?
Walking from afar, working.
Oh, well.
Listen, that's a different topic. I gotta go to work tomorrow. I need to be on the phone with my speaker.
Where's the man?
I need to be on the phone with my speaker to know how we're doing our thing tomorrow. We in Ghana. We gotta make sure we will be there. Speaker Chimba.
I want to think you're doing Ghana, please.
You're so happy.
You're for a problem, man. I swear to God, that country.
You're good, man.
Yeah, people don't even want to say people forced to talk. Sometimes people here. Yeah, a letter. Who's saying invitation? What kind of business is this?
So I asked a question, right? So okay, so let's agree. Say when I think got a legitimate letter, it came from the president-elect himself. Does that add anything to you? The argument is about you being speaker of the House of Liberia, not about Ghana recognizing you when you come out your CSC problem. So what's it? I gotta go, man. I'm very headache. You finish it today. Yeah, good night. Happy 2025 to the audience and to you. My brother Moses, sorry, I haven't been well, but I'll give you a call.
Okay, no problem, brother.
Okay, okay then. Okay, Moses, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's keep in touch.
Yeah.
Thank you for all what you do. Don't get tired. You keep talking to your old man. We don't want 2025. We need bunch of excuses here. Oh, and they want to do this. Let's judge we are dances dance. Okay, I don't want you to judge.
Yeah. But you see, I hope that people close to him can listen to these shows and just take a little, 2 cents out of there. And basically some of the things we talk. I don't know how many of them watch these kind of conversations.
Alice Kumi say gonna be he to be active now too. So I don't know. They were giving.
Oh,
that's a sickening thing of the Liberian politicians.
Yeah.
The only time you see them forceful when there's a process in the making.
Exactly.
They never speak on issues. They never,
Yeah.
So we want to see what the 2025. I'm not just only saying when the government does it right, you see. When the government screwed up, speak out. Don't be visible only when you want to. As you want to lead people.
Yeah.
You got to be like the people. And this sort of secondary politicians that we have.
Yeah.
They don't want to get in trouble. They want to no. To affect changes, it comes with a huge price.
Yeah.
You want to go to jail, or you either face some public ridicules, come with different stuff. But you want to be in 3-piece and say you want to be a what I call it doesn't work that way. So much.
Go down to Sony Wayne, but you want to speak to people from Capitol Hill, but you talk about Sony Wayne, but you haven't been there, and that's not how it works. Well, thank you, brother, for a beautiful show again. We were all over the place, but I think we got some substance out of our conversation.
Yeah, that man who say he want to be president 2021 for he to even people are not willing to do. You see they got a group of people and you're dancing. What's it? I mean, you have a social time, but there are certain when you are in certain positions and you envisage to get certain things done. Sometimes you set apart, refine yourself, remake yourself. You try to reintroduce yourself. Do not allow the people to define you.
Exactly.
People, but they're waiting. The Liberian politicians, they're working on the eve of 2029.
Yeah.
And it's going crazy, going to every towns and villages, and the thing miracle can be performed.
Yeah, yeah.
Please.
There's an integrity that comes with that office. And when you sit in there, you leave that office, there's a certain level of respect you have around the world and all that stuff like that. People still regard
by this time, anybody who wants office is supposed to start having like a skeleton team.
Yep.
Have like the spokesperson.
Yeah.
Former president, we are the speaker, that person, anybody who has some good political ambition for the country. You have a small working team, committed team. Look at things that are happening in government every day.
Yeah.
When it comes out good, you praise them, but hey, you can do this, that, and have a spokesperson, have a little structure, but the people are just disorganized.
No.
Anybody will call anytime, any hour, the gentleman says something. And they think.
So we don't have serious political parties. And I keep saying that. And I will repeat myself throughout. These guys have no structure. They just wait until the candidates come out and fund their electoral process. The candidates.
It's the city administration too.
Yeah. If the candidate cannot raise the money, they will not go anywhere. So what good is the political party?
I don't know.
Well, have a good night. We can't talk all.
We'll talk all this, yo. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you for a good show, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Okay, Most. Thank you so much. Okay, folks, that does it this evening. Time of Susie, so we are way over the time, 10:17 Eastern Standard Time. I want to thank you so much for your time this evening, as usual, to all of you following us inside, outside. If you're here in the USA, outside of USA, to whatever time you are, if this is the first time we see it, thank you so much for joining us. We'd also like to get your comments in our comment. We usually go back to read it. If you're first time, Veronica, I believe, I'm not sure. But I believe your first time tuning in here, if that's the case, we say thank you so much. And to many others, we don't call, we say happy New Year. May this new year just bring all that you look out for and the best. To buy credits where you can get nothing from Walmart. Hopefully this year, everything gonna go away. and that you gained that financial breakthrough. So, Montemot, thank you so much for your commitment to this network. Always here, your tweets, your comments. We always take that into consideration. Scott, good to have you here. Victor Patton, thank you so much. And my new Daha Esther Toronto, let's welcome Fatu into our word of reality. It's a reality where we stand up and speak the fast, not just followed the light of the liberals and Jerry Boshin. Fatu, you are good to have you home. You know, sometimes people will allow people to want to go and see and experience what is out there. Then they come back. Your independent voice will be very hard. Yeah, Mr. Double Paul, I mean, what's up? How is Philly? Happy New Year. Thank you so much. Tape Lemons Gibate. Good to have you, Pressure. Thank you so much. Jeremiah Scott. My man, happiness coming. Thank you so much. Brian Hine. Morovia College. Yeah. Rufus Lemon, thank you so much. Emmanuel Biadet, Arvind. Emma, this is Emma. I don't know. Hopefully, you start your business with us again right here. Mr. Madam Chair Lady, Emma owns one of the biggest restaurants in Philadelphia, Emma Restaurant as well. Hopefully, you start some commercial again. I don't know why you broke on you to do the contract, but I'll call you. Oliver, it's good to have you. It's our man, command, Arthur. We say thank you so much for everything that you do, your commitment. At some point in time, we'll come back. Orita Gay, is this Orita from Des Moines, Iowa? Good to have you. Good evening. Happy belated New Year. Benedict as well. Washington for fun. And John Newman. Ali, my man. So I can't try to show face here one of these days, my man. Kianta, Patricia, good Tina, and all of you. Morris, thank you for joining us from inside the West African state of the Republic of Liberia. Madam, thank you so much. Always good to have you here. Adolphus, Juanita, Beatrice, Cotto, Deconti, Jeff, Maisy, Catherine, Helena, the Fossil Sissy, the legend himself, Mr. Asaru from Minneapolis, Minnesota, a long-time community servant. I don't know whether you retired now or you just watching doing your own thing now, right? Thank you so much, Ben. Thank you, Ambassador Anak Va, Mabet Mawlod, William Sanvi, Kroma, Elijah, Nambe, Felicia. Hey, Fee, how are you? How is beginning of for South Dakota? Thank you so much for your time. Folks, that's how we're going to leave it. And like I said, if you have your organization, be it man group, woman group, I don't know why these women, they're having these plenty of women organization. The other one new one just creating a woman of excellence. I think I got to form men of what excellent or whatever. We got to find out why the women group so plenty like that. We need to dig up the history on that. But guys, we want to thank you so much. Let's keep praying for our country. We'll keep having this critical conversation. We'll do it with respect. Sometimes we'll be vocal. Sometimes you will not like the language, the tone in terms that doesn't suit your political taste. But it's in no way suggests that we hate our country, but we will just be very, very much different on some political ideologies that we feel that's not right. And you also are entitled to your views, your opinions, but let us have these conversations in a civil context. Until then, we say thank you so much and say happy birthday to our analyst, May Koto Blessing Jala Balaya. Loma want all the names 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 names. She alone. We say happy birthday to Madam Balayan. Thank you so much for your service to this network, the community, and as a whole. And just in case, folks, if you have any special thing you want to do, please let us know. I'm telling you, Fatu has managed her the expectations. That's what I'm telling you. The expectations there now that are premature there, so Fatu give up. You remember on the Venetian, they will come one by one, they will get to know. We say, Koto, enjoy your date and thank you for what you do. Until then, I am Afonso Zienso, and this is how I want to sign off this evening. Bye bye. And don't forget, if any historical day that you have, as long as you are following Liberia Public Radio, just shoot me a message, let us know, and we will also celebrate you in that same faction. Okay? Bye-bye.